Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in a Weekdays at Bernie segment tonight. As we reported last week, the Washington Post attacked me for telling you the truth about who was voting for President Obama and why. For some unknown reason, the Post injected race into my commentary when that was not even in play. Now the Post is another editorial saying that Republicans who criticize UN Ambassador Susan Rice may be racist. Quote, could it be, as members of the Congressional Black Caucus are charging, that the signatories of the letter are targeting Ms. Rice because she is an African-American woman, unquote. The referred to letter is a bunch of congressmen saying they don't believe Susan Rice is qualified to be Secretary of State because of her initial report on the assassination of Ambassador Stevens, which was misleading. Joining us now from Miami is the purveyor, BernardGoldberg.com, Mr. Goldberg. So we're starting to see a pattern of behavior here on the Washington Post editorial board, are we not?
Yeah, let me first take a few seconds to put it into context. There is a strategy by some liberals in politics and the media to go after anyone who opposes Susan Rice and portray those people as racists and sexist because Susan Rice is a black woman. There have been a lot of articles on this, but the worst by far, the sleaziest by far, is that editorial you referred to in the Washington Post. Let me read you part of what it says, starting with the sentence you just read, because this is really off the charts. So, as you read, could it be, as members of the Congressional Black Caucus are charging, that the signatories of the letter are targeting Ms. Rice because she's an African-American woman? Then it goes on to say, the signatories deny that, and we can't know their hearts. What we do know is that more than 80 of the signatories are white males, and nearly half are from states of the former Confederacy. So what they're saying after the mandatory, we don't know what's in their hearts, is that, but we do know that they're white and that they're men and that some of them come from a part of the country that 150 years ago had slaves, okay? What are they really saying, Bill? They're really saying white, male, Southern, they must be racist. This is not honest opinion journalism. This is nothing but a contemptible smear. And the Washington Post really should be ashamed of themselves for that editorial.
Now, why do you think this is happening? I mean, I don't read the Washington Post every day, but it was never really drawn to my attention that they were that far out there. But recently, I would say in the last year or so, they really changed their editorial page stance. Now, the guy who runs it's a guy named Fred Hyatt. We look at his commentary, very left-wing, all the way down the line. Then they got a guy named Tom Tolles on the editorial board. He's about as far left as you can get. He's a cartoonist. They got another guy, Jackson Deal. He's a Democrat. He was very supportive of the Islamic Brotherhood. He was telling everybody, hey, they aren't bad guys. Then Jonathan Capehart, who's a regular on MSNBC. So the Post seems to stack this deck with far-left guys who now are going to come after anybody with whom they disagree in a very personal way. We don't care about their politics. They have a right to editorialize the way they want to. But when they start to, as you said, demonize people because of their skin color and where they live, I mean, it really gets to be extreme.
Right. They did that with you, too, as you said in the lead-in. Right. So let me give you two reasons why liberals in general do this. One is that it's a way to shut people up.
Sure. Intimidating.
Nobody wants to be called a racist, so some people will be frightened by this and run away, and then the people who are calling you a racist, they win. The second reason, I believe, and I firmly believe this, is psychological. There's no limits to white liberal guilt. So if they can call you or other people a racist, number one, it shows we're the good white people. We're not like those, we're not like O'Reilly. We're the good white people because we'll defend a Susan Rice or Barack Obama or anybody by calling their opponents racist. And the second reason is that if you can show that you care about black people, it tells you that I know that as a white person, I made it in part precisely because I'm a white person, and a black person didn't make it precisely because he or she is a black person. So I am going to bend over backwards. I am going to call people racist, call them other names, because it's the best I can do to assuage my white guilt that I was born white. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, I am convinced that's the reason.
All right, and there may be something to that, but I think another reason is they simply can't win the debate. They simply can't win it, Bernie. When we sat here on election night and said, look, people under $30,000, earning under $30,000, breaking big for President Obama, and why are they breaking big? It looks like the entitlement culture. And when we say that, you know, Ambassador Rice has some problems because she misled the nation, which she absolutely did, and she won't give up who told her to say what she said. She won't give it up. As I said to Senator McCain, she's a team player and she's going to be rewarded. They don't have facts to refute any of that. So they have to come after you that way, because if they don't, they'll lose. Last word.
But what they don't understand, see, racism is an ugly, terrible thing. But what they don't understand is that what they're doing is a kind of racism too, a soft, paternalistic racism where they defend black people and say you can't criticize Susan Rice, an African American, precisely because she's an African American.
That's racist.
They won't say it in precisely those words, but that's what they're really saying.
All right, Bernie, thank you. Water's World. Up next, we sent Jesse down to the NASCAR race in Florida. Where do you see what happened? And we'll check it out as the factor continues all across the USA and all around the world.